couple notes here. At this time, I'm going to ask that we please stand for the posting of the colors and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by Ms. Danielle Tompkins and the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation to follow.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
We are here today to say thank you. Thank you to our NCH military veterans, those on our staff, and those among our volunteers. Here at NCH, we are blessed to have professionals and volunteers with many cultural and work histories, many faiths, and many spiritual beliefs. So now, let us bow our heads in respect to the source of our hopes, our strength, and our courage. We thank you for caring for us and for being with us today. We do many different jobs here at NCH, and today we stand together for one purpose: to honor our military veterans wherever they work and whatever they do. We thank you for guiding and guarding each of us as we give our patients and their families the very best medical and spiritual care we possibly can. And to our veterans, thank you again. We appreciate you. Just as you were called into military service to defend our country and our freedom, so now you have been called into humanitarian service to help our patients, their families, and our community. In both cases, when you were called, you responded, you answered the call. We greatly admire and respect you. And now, here at Veterans Day 2020, we ask for blessings for our veterans and their families. Please keep them healthy, prosperous, and safe. Veterans of NCH, we salute you. Thank you, and amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Please be seated. So we're here today to honor these great veterans and both staff, volunteers, and all veterans. So if you are a veteran, would you please stand just once so we can recognize you? Please stand if you're a veteran. Thank you so much. Your country is so proud of you. So please be seated, and just wanted to recognize a couple of folks. If you are an elected official here today, could you please stand? I know we've got some of the city councilmen, vice mayor, thank you. Any other? Thank you. Also would like to recognize Bernadette LaPaya. She's right there. Bernadette, thank you for being here. And today's event has some special community partners that I'd like to recognize. Avow Hospice and Mark Beeland and Kristen Downey. The Marine Corps League, who will be conducting the flag folding ceremony and the playing of taps in a bit here. Naples VFW Post 7721 for providing the service branch flags on stage, thank you. Palmetto Ridge High School Junior ROTC cadets for posting and retiring of the colors. Jack Fulmer for his invaluable guidance and leadership. Jack, thank you. And I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees at NCH for supporting this event. And finally, our NCH team, especially Matt Holliday, who is a veteran, and Matt was spearheaded this thing. So Matt, thank you. So we're very pleased to be with you today for what is one of our first, I think, that we've had for the Veterans Day celebration, and it means a lot to us here. My own son is active duty Air Force right now, so it's near and dear to my heart, and we're pleased about that. And we're going to be doing our thing is to serve the whole community, but we're going to put a special emphasis on the veterans going forward. We'll be, in the weeks and months ahead, we'll have a wall of honor that we're working on downstairs to recognize your great service to this country with some of our community partners. So we thank you for that. And the Red Cross has just launched a service for veterans here. It will be the first, I think, in Southwest Florida. where they'll be putting special emphasis on patients that are here in our 2 hospitals, and we're very proud to be partnering with them. So the next part of this we're going to have is a few great speakers here. We'll be recognizing our speakers this morning, starting with George Gold and Harold Travilsi, who served in World War II, and Harold also served in the Korean War. So, gentlemen, who would like to go first?
Thank you. I'd like to thank the VFW for inviting me to be here as your guest today. It was a real pleasure to be among people who still believe in God, country, and the flag. Thank you.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
The greatest generation are very much to the point, aren't they? No wonder you won the war. Just get right down to business. We are deeply grateful for that. So thank you so much. Next, Bruce Taeho, who served in the Korean War and the founder of Avow Hospice here in Naples.
I'm not going to be brief. This is actually my shopping list. I thought this was a program, but it says here tomatoes and grapes. Why not grape tomatoes? Again, it's an honor to be here. Yes, I am a Avow Hospice. Very much runs my blood. And one of the things that we do at Avow is to honor veterans, big time. And one of the things we do is to do pinnings. Then go to the assisted living, wherever really, and there's somewhere between 500 and 700 pinnings that take place when we could do it physically. And that was one of my biggest honors, really a fun, nice thing to do. To look at a guy in the eye who's been through everything, and they're coming out of assisted living or a nursing home, and can hardly talk, walk, or mobile, whatever, and to put a pin on him or her, and all of a sudden, shazam, I mean, we got tears flowing, they really appreciate it, and to me, and it's corny to say, but I get more out of it than they do. Anyway, we're going to have a pinning today, if I may. Harold, can you get up one more time? Yeah. What we do when we identify the people, the veterans, and gotta find my pen. Monique, would you assist me, please?
Yes, sir.
I've got Monique assisting me because I cannot hold on to that little pin. I'm shaking so much these days. Anyways, I want to salute you, sir, for your service. You're born. Again, thank you. I thank Naples Community Hospital for inviting us, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all. How many Korean veterans do we actually have here? The amazing thing is, you know, you go through boot camp and all the stuff that you go through, and there's all kinds of pranks and there's all kinds of things that happen. But you always make some real good friends, and they're lifelong friends. And out of a half a dozen now, I have one left. And his name is Frank Finker. He lives in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's 6'6", heck of a football player. And anyways, it's the one that left out of the service that I know intimately. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much. And the next person I'd like to introduce is, before I moved to Naples, I knew of one person that lived here, and it was Wayne Smith. And I always wanted to meet him, and Matt set this up, and I'm really honored, Matt, to have you here, Wayne. And if you hear his story and what he's done, it's incredible.
Thank you. And it's just so great to be with you, fellas, I promise you. It's one of the things that we drew from. One of the things that some of you may not know, but I was shot down in 1968, and I was a prisoner of war in 1973. And with a lot of good guys. Although I must say, Ev Alvarez, a Marine, by the way, was the first guy shot down. 8.5 years as a prisoner of war. Can you imagine that? He was the first guy shot down in 1964. And of course, we had a few other Marines, by the way, who aren't here, I found out, but I did want to mention one of the guys who was a pre-OW had the best name for a Marine I've ever heard. It's the truth. His name was Captain Jerry Marble. And he had a backseater in his F4 that he was flying. His name was Larry Freeze. But Larry had a habit of he would get tortured and stuff, but he made it so difficult on our captors that they just couldn't take it. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible how Larry, there's books written about how he absolutely made our captors crazy. But anyhow, I got through that, and was very, very fortunate. I'm really fortunate, to be here. I might say that one of the things, since we got a little time, that I did, I almost made it to the water. I was hit over Hanoi, flying an F4, and I could see the boats ready to pick me up. And I had communication. I had a chase plane, but I had one of my engines had flames coming out of it, according to the chase plane, telling me, "Keep going, Wayne. You'll make it. But you've got flames coming out of your engine about 2.5 aircraft lengths long." And like I said, I could see the water, and unfortunately, the plane just quit. I went upside down. I was at low level. I had to punch, and about less than 30 seconds, I was in a tree, my feet about 12 feet above the ground. Guys on the ground, and the ocean couldn't get to me before I was captured within 5 minutes. And then about a 3-day trip to Hanoi. And then 5 years and 2 months, 1,882 days later, I made it out. But I was very lucky. I'll tell you, the best Marine that I've mentioned, Captain Jerry Marble, amazing. But his backseater, Larry Freese, just drove our captors crazy. I was next to John McCain for 2 years. I was in Warehouse 10 and he was in Warehouse 11. We were all in solitary confinement for years, by the way. But the one thing I want to leave you with is the thing that kept us going, we found so many different ways to communicate. It's been hours talking about it. Absolutely amazing. Started with a tap code. 5 rows, 5 columns. The C and the K are the same. We only had 25 letters, so we could tap. Then we found lots of different ways to do that. When you were separate, we could cough. Because our captors were always spitting and using juice or whatever, beetle nuts and stuff. So it was pretty easy to communicate by coughing and spitting. And I won't give you how that sounded. But anyway, I'll get off stage now, but I just thought a few of those little stories might help. But anyway, it was amazing how some of them made it. We had one good friend of mine, unfortunately, went to school with him at the Air Force Academy. But there's a story about Lance Saigon. And Lance, of all people, would talk about grit and trying to live. He was shot down. He spent 12 days crawling on his back, and then he was captured. And then it took 47 days before he made it to Hanoi. And they put him in a cell next to me. And unfortunately, I was told that 2 days later he passed away. So I can assure you that I felt very, very, very lucky. He was a great fullback on our team at the Air Force Academy and a good friend of mine. Anyway, enough of that stuff. Since they gave me a chance to talk, I'll talk. Lois told me don't speak too long. 2 minutes and that's it.
Thank you. Wayne, thank you so much for your service and for all that you went through for this country. Next speaker, Monique Hashimoto, and Monique is representing the post-9/11 veterans and the resiliency and the strength that took too. So Monique, thank you for being here.
Thank you. I have to take this off. It's a little hot in there. Hi, I'm Monique, and I am an Air Force veteran. I served from 2008 to 2011, stationed in Louisiana, and I had a deployment to Afghanistan. I've been around the military my entire life. My mother was a Marine. Also, happy birthday to the Marines. My grandfather and my uncles were all in the Army as well. So I've grown up all around that. But what I wasn't really prepared for was getting out of the military. When I got out, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do. For me, the transition was a little bit harder than I had expected. I had just gotten out. I had 2 children. My husband was still in, but he was on the verge of being medically retired. And so we had to make a decision, and we ended up moving down here to Florida. And I started school at Florida Gulf Coast University. And it was great until I realized that I had almost nothing in common with any of the students in my classes. We had a very different background. It was a lot harder to connect with them. And that was kind of hard for me because we were forced to do a lot of group projects. A lot of people don't understand, let's not do this project at 9 o'clock at night. I've got to get my kids to school and get them to sleep. But one of the things that I actually learned from that was to accept everybody else's experiences, just like they accepted my own, so they were very understanding. But one of the things I did miss about the military was being around other like-minded people. I truly missed having that structure. And one of the local organizations that really helped me with that was an organization called Home Base. And I started in their wellness program and just got around a bunch of other veterans who were looking to do the same thing, just reconnect with people who have served. And I've met some of my greatest and best friends in that program. I'm super thankful for it. But one of the things I just wanted to get across today is that communities are very, very important to veterans who are coming home. If there's not a community presence who are going to be there to support veterans, then it makes it a lot harder for those veterans to feel safe and comfortable and welcome. And I think that Southwest Florida has done a great job with that as far as helping me feel welcomed, and it's been really great to have the different organizations down here to help and to provide assistance. And the one thing that I know is that while everybody wants to help veterans, then everyone has different missions. The ultimate goal is just to continue to provide that support for everyone. So I just wanted to thank everyone here, especially at NCH, and everyone in Collier County and Lee counties for helping support veterans. Thank you.
Monique, thank you so much. And finally, we recognize our Gold Star families. Jackie Cialdo and Claudine Ehlers are here today to represent the Gold Star families.
Good morning. My name is Claudine Ehlers, and this is my sister Jackie Nelson. And we're here today to honor you, our local veterans, and to represent the Southwest Florida chapter of the Gold Star Mothers. You may not be aware of the term Gold Star Mother or Gold Star Family. I know I wasn't aware of it until I became one. A Gold Star family is one that has lost an immediate family member in the line of duty of military service to our country through either physical or invisible wounds or those that are missing in action. Our brother, Staff Sergeant Mark Sheldo, was raised here in Naples, a city he absolutely adored and loved, and would always look forward to coming back to when he was on leave. Throughout his 8 years in the military, he always bragged about this beautiful town to those he met along the way in his military career. Our brother was a bold character, he was a leader, he was strong, and he was definitely hilarious. And in the 7 years since he has been gone, we have heard amazing stories from so many of his fellow soldiers and veterans that trained under him and served alongside him. He left an imprint on all that he touched. Simply put, he was loved by so many, and he was unequivocally a fierce patriot. Having entered the military after the events of 9/11, Mark believed that serving his country was his life's mission. And he went on to serve overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan. He was able to mentor and befriend new soldiers in their first steps into the brotherhood of the Army. He would have done anything to help a fellow soldier.
He would have. And we lost our brother Mark on March 11, 2013, when his Black Hawk crashed in Kandahar, Afghanistan. And you know, sometimes we think we're fine and we're moving forward, and this is just a perfect example that we're still healing. And as many of you as veterans are every day, we know that you've seen the loss like this, like our brother. So thank you for bearing with us. We don't mean to be presenting something emotional and sad, but we're so grateful to talk about our brother, and so he's remembered. Life for our family will never be the same, and we try to continue honoring him by keeping his memory alive and honoring other veterans such as yourselves. So thank you so much for your service. November hosts one of the most important months for the Gold Star Mothers. It is Veterans Day, and this organization was founded in 1918, but as the need in our area grew for love and support, luckily this agency was founded 3 years ago. So our family was such a benefit factor from having the support of the Southwest Florida chapter of American Gold Star Mothers. So here we are today. And I should say it's our impact, really it's the mothers' impact of these women who have started this group. And they're tirelessly dedicated as only a mother can be, to support and to promote the awareness of what a Gold Star family is. So if anyone in this room is a Gold Star family member, a Gold Star mother, and you haven't reached out to our organization, we really encourage you to do so. They do a lot, we do a lot in the community for veteran awareness, for education, and for navigating grief. And also for any veterans who may be struggling, or if you know any veterans struggling, with basic needs or resources, mental health, we're also here to support that as well. So my sister and I, and alongside the American Gold Star Mothers of Southwest Florida, extend our sincere thanks and gratitude to all veterans, especially our Collier County veterans. Thank you so much.
Thank you both so much. And to close out our ceremony today, Jack Fulmer and the Marine Corps League will conduct a flag folding ceremony and present that flag to an NCH veteran, Mr. Winslow Taylor, who served in the United States Navy and I think served with the Marines as well. We're honored that you're here. Following the presentation of the flag, taps will be played, and our ceremony will conclude with the retrieval of the colors. And there is at your place a brochure provided by Hodges Funeral Home that explains the flag folding ceremony. So with that, we'll call on Mr. Jack Fulmer and the Marine Corps League.
first fold of our flag is a fold for the symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of veterans departing our ranks who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country and to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature. For as American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn in times of peace as well as in times of war for His divine grace. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to the armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they are found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood and mothers, for it has been through their faith, their love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of the men and women who have made this country have been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to the Father, for He too has given His sons and daughters for the defense of our country. The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glorifies in the Hebrews' eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies in the Christian's eyes God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The 13th fold, or when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our nation's motto, "In God we trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving for us the rights and privileges we enjoy today.
That concludes today's ceremony, and we again thank the veterans, families of the veterans here today, and we appreciate that. We appreciate your service, and let's give the veterans one more round of applause. Thank you all very much.